So you'll have a money set point for a cup of coffee, and you'll have a money set point for what to pay for an article of clothing or a hotel room you might stay in or a mortgage or a car or anything like that. And people do not have consistent money set points. So I know that I've paid how many tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars for all of the transformational training that I've gone through. And I'm sure you have too, Gail. And there are people that you work with who will value transformation enough that they will want to pay top dollar for it, even if they may not spend that much money in their life on other things. So that's one thing is we think that when we raise our prices, we always have to target very wealthy people. It's not true. We have to target people who value the transformation we provide. So that's one thing is looking at what does the money set point need to be in transformation for the people I help. The other way to look at it is that there is nothing more valuable on this planet than transformation. So we think that we should price our services based on an hour of time. Like, wow, $100 an hour, that's a lot to be paid for an hour. I think it's a lot to be paid for an hour too if you're sweeping a floor. But if in that hour, if in that, if in 2 sessions, I can take someone from fear and anger about whether they will die to being grateful for their life, what's that worth? And I think it's worth far more than the hour. It's worth the value of the transformation. And when we start looking at what is my time worth from a transformational standpoint, then we have a whole new equation for what to charge. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I get that. And I think more people should think that way. I'm not sure every business can exist like that, but I certainly think that if more people thought that way, all of their businesses would grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will have to ask you, what do you love about running a seven-figure business? I mean, I don't think from listening to you, Pamela, that you're in it for the money. I think you're in it for what you achieve with your clients. So, what do you love about it? And I guess I could also ask you, what do you hate about it?
Well, you're right. I'm not in it for the money, except in one regard. I love, love, love having money to to contribute to
Right,
things.
to do the things that you want to do with it. Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. And that to me is a really, really important part of it. Um, I love the transformation that my clients achieve, and almost equally, I love the transformation that I see in my team. So I have 5 full-time employees and several contractors that I work with, and when we work together as a team, and I see how much they love creating this service that we create for people, and I see how much fun they have working as a team, that's very fulfilling to me. So I feel like I'm creating something for these people in their life as my team, as well as creating something transformational for my clients. And that's an extraordinary gift to be able to do that, to create that environment for people. And then, as far as contributing, I'm a supporter of the Unstoppable Foundation, which is a foundation that reclaims villages in Africa, provides clean water, medicine, and most importantly for me, schools. And we have currently reclaimed over 6 villages in Africa. Over $150,000 has been contributed through Unstoppable by me and by my efforts in the reach that I have with my clients and readers. So that's something that you can do when you start making money. And that's one of my favorite things to do.
And I think that's what people should look at. I think people shouldn't say, "Oh, well, my business, it's a 3 million or 5 million or a $20 million business." It's, what do I do with that? How do I better the world? How do I better my friends? How do I better my relationships? I think that's so key.
Mhm.
And anything you don't love about running a big business?
um, my next hire will be probably a COO, a chief of operations, because there's a lot. I'm still running more of the day-to-day operations of the business, and I'd like to move more into the visionary. Right now I'm wearing a one too many hats in that regard. Um, But
And I
other than
think
that,
entrepreneurs do that. I think entrepreneurs eventually get to a point where I love my business, but I don't want to run it anymore. I want to help build it to better and better and better. And that's where the COO comes in.
mm,
And of course, you have to make sure that you get the right COO that, they don't have a structured mentality that doesn't allow you to have some breathing room. So I think that's a smart move. That's wonderful.
mhm.
So have you found any downsides to your success?
the the numbers are bigger and the risks are bigger. You just play a completely different game. So, whereas when I was starting out my company, it was like, wow, $5,000 is a lot of money, and let me risk $5,000. Now I'm risking 50,000 or 100,000. The numbers are a whole lot bigger, and that gives me more opportunity for tapping to calm myself. Let's just say that.
Well,
Um,
it's like I say to people, your electricity bill might be $50, but my electricity bill might be $500. Everything is relative, and you're
mhm,
absolutely correct in saying that, $5,000 was a lot of money, and it's still a lot of money to a lot of people.
mhm.
On the other hand, when you talk about 50,000 or 150,000, that's a big difference too. So, but
It is.
before we run out of time, I want to make sure people know how to reach you. So, what is your website and how can they get in contact with you?
They can find me at makeyoursuccessreal.com. And, if they go there, there's plenty to read, plenty to do. And I do invite people to take advantage of my free gift there. So makeyoursuccessreal.com.
Wonderful. Okay, makeyoursuccessreal.com. And any last thoughts you want to tell us about Pamela?
Absolutely. When Oh, let me tell it this way in a story. I live in the mountains of North Carolina, and one of my favorite things to do is go hiking. And one winter, we had an ice storm that covered my mountain so that it was just impossible for me to walk up it safely. And so, for a week of cold, I walked on the roads, and it was unsatisfying. And I thought, you know what? There's got to be a way to do this differently. So I went to the hiking store and I said, what can you do for me? And they sold me these little tiny hooks that attach to the bottom of your hiking boots, and I could hike up an icy sheet of a mountain in perfect safety. And I thought, this is a great metaphor for business. And it's kind of the way that I see EFT tapping, or whatever your favorite modality is for changing your mindset, changing your subconscious, is you need a tool so that you can do what you want to do and feel comfortable with it and feel in alignment with it. And if you don't have that, go ask until you find it. Because giving up on your dreams, which is what I did when I walked the road, or doing it and in a constant state of fear and danger, those are not good options. Find the tools to do what you need.
Not good options at all. And as a matter of fact, it goes back to your ask. Be sure and ask. I love that. I love that. And it's something people should do more often. And you also have a free gift website that we should talk about, doubleyourincomeseries.com. So if people want to get a gift from Pamela, go to doubleyourincomeseries.com. And then, of course, her website is Make Yours Success Real, makeyoursuccessreal.com. This has been fantastic. I really have enjoyed this, Pamela. And I think, I happen to know Pamela in person, and she is one of the most giving and warm and interesting and really exciting people to know. And she does it in such a professional way. I really have to compliment you. You don't come across as powerful as you are, Pamela. And I think people need to appreciate that and understand that. And I think that's what makes you so successful. So I want to thank you for being a guest today. And I certainly hope that a lot of people have learned from it, as I'm sure they have. And I hope that you will get a lot of people to your website. And we want to thank you for being on Women in Business.
Thank you, Gail. My pleasure.